Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Inshallah, today we'll be starting with a quick lesson of tajweed. Um, so today we're going to be learning about something called tafseen, and we'll explain a little bit more about what that is when we get into the lesson. For a quick review, we yesterday actually, sorry, not last week, we learned about the long vowels and what I'm calling the two-count med. So this is a med where you take two counts to pronounce it. So we have the fatha and an alif afterwards, a dhamma with a waw afterwards, and a kasra with a ya afterwards. So instead of just pronouncing it as a, u, or e, we extend each of them and basically pronounce them twice. So it would be a, u, e. For example, when you say Bismillah, we will recite it like this. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I say it a little bit slowly, but I want to make sure that everyone is able to see the timing. And I also mentioned yesterday one thing. I said that you don't change the pronunciation of the harakat when you extend them. When you're in the long vowel, except there is an exception sometimes for fatha with the alif afterwards. And we're going to get into that. That's going to be part of today's lesson. So we're going to be talking about something called tafseen today. And that the way that most of these scholars of tajweed discuss it is a letter of tafseen is pronounced with a full mouth. I, for one, don't know exactly what that means. But there's another explanation as well. It's called isti'la. So I'm saying a lot of Arabic words. You can ignore most of them. I'm just having it here in case somebody wants to Google it later. But right now, I think what we should focus on is trying to better our recitation. So this thing called isti'la is when you raise the back of your tongue towards the roof of your mouth. It doesn't have to necessarily touch, but you're actively raising the back of your tongue when you pronounce the letters of tafseen. And then this affects the pronunciation of the alif madiyah. So and that's what you call the fatha with the alif afterwards. So that's the two count. It's a med. So instead of, for example, we'll see some examples when I get into the letters. So there are 7 letters that always have isti'la to them. And you can remember them with this mnemonic. A mnemonic is basically just a way to remember certain information. So instead of just saying kha, sa, da, ghain, ba, ghain, qaf, and wa, we'll just put them together into one word, or a few words maybe. Khusta, waqtin, qalb, qib in this case. I don't think that actually means anything, but it's just there for you to remember the letters. So maybe if you want, after this lesson, you can look at this again, just say it a few times. Qussa, Bostin, Bil. Just to remember these letters. So they always have isti'la. So again, what that means is the back of the tongue is raised to the top of the mouth. For example, in the word walabalin, we don't say walabalin, right? Because of the tafseen here. When you raise the back of your tongue to the back of your tongue to the top of your mouth, you can actually see that it's very hard to say well and keep it up there. It automatically goes back down when you try to pronounce the fatha normally. So instead we say walabalin. We say aw instead of a in the case of these letters. And it'll be the same thing with all the rest of them as well. So you'll say ha instead of kha, you'll say saw instead of sa, and so forth for the rest of them. Now, these are the letters that always have isti'la. Also, sometimes ra has it as well. And it only comes up when there is a fatha or a dhamma, either on top of the ra, or if the ra has a sukoon before the ra. So if there's a kasra, then you're not going to see that. For example, Bismillah, no, not Bismillah, sorry. I actually can't think of an opposite example, but you'll see it in like Bismillahir Rahman. So there's Ar-Rahman, there is a fatha on the ra. So you pronounce it with tafkhim. And in the case of the alif madiyah, the alif mad is always with a fatha and then an alif. So that means that you're always going to have, you're always going to pronounce it with tafkhim. So it's always going to be ra instead of ra, because that won't work. Also, sometimes lam has it as well, but this is only for the name of Allah. So, and this is only when before the word Allah, there is a fatha or a dhamma. So in Bismillah, we don't do tafkhim. Why? Because there is a kasra before Allah. So you say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, not Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So for practice, let's see. Okay, great. So now I think I can see everybody. Most of your cameras don't look like they're on though. So if you want to answer a question, just unmute yourself, and since I can't see you raising your hand, yeah, just unmute yourself and now and answer the question. So here we have a in Allah, you don't necessarily see the alif here, but you know it's there. Who can tell me how you pronounce this, considering the rules that we just learned for tafsir? Go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like to answer.
And Bismillah, right?
Correct, because there is a kasra before Allah, so it will be Bismillah. And now we have another small alif here with a fatha before it. So you have another alif madiyah here. Who's going to tell me how you pronounce it in this word? Anybody else? Okay. So
I can go again.
Yeah, go ahead, Musa.
Would it be Bismillahir Rahman?
Exactly. Because again, because meme isn't one of those letters. So we have the letters of tafkhim, and then the opposite is tarqib. And we're not really going to learn tarqib because that's just pronouncing it normally. Now, if you're going to do more in-depth tajweed lessons, we would discuss it more. All right, now we need somebody else to answer. Who wants to answer the next question? Just unmute yourself because I can't see if you raise your hand. All right, I guess I'll just go over a couple of them myself very quickly then, in that case. So we have in Surah Al-Zalzala, we have a lot of examples of alif madiyah. So for example, we have this za here. So this one, because it's not one of the seven, one of the, I guess, 9 letters that we discussed, it's going to be tarqib. So it's not in khusab often qil. So it's iza instead of idha, right? And then same in laha. So this isn't one of those letters. So zilza laha. Same with the za here. But you do see other examples of it as well. So for example, mithqala. So qaf is in there. So the qaf is right there. So mithqala. And then same here. Well, if you stopped at this word, if you didn't pronounce this tanween, you would say khayra instead of khayra, right? Even here, you still do pronounce the tafseen. So, but since you have the tanween here, it's pronounced khayrayara instead of khayrayara. All right. And I think that will be it for the lesson. I think we have everyone's names here. So, Brother Ta, can you please begin the recitation for us?
Should I begin it? Which ayat are we on?
Oh, which I we are reciting from Surah Al-Ra'd. It's on page 249 of the Usman Taha Quran, so the one that most places have. But if you don't have that one, then Surah Al-Ra'd, starting from the beginning.
Which ayat is it?
Ayah 1.
Oh. Surah 13, right?
Yes. No, sorry. It's is this Surah 13?
Surah Ra'd.
Yes, 13. Also just 13.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alif Lam Mim Ra. Tilka ayatul kitab. Wallazi unzila ilayka min rabbikal haqqu walakinna aksaran nasi la yu'minuna. الله الذي رفع السماوات بغير عماد ترونها ثم استوى على العرش وسخر الشمس والقمر كل يجري لأجل مسمى يدبر أمرا يفسر الآيات لعلكم بلقاء ربكم توقنون.
Excellent. Very good, Taha. Now, Brother Muhammad Hussein, please go ahead.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وهو الذي مد الأرض وجعل فيها رواسي وأنهارا ومن كل الثمرات جعل فيها زوجين اثنين يغشي الليل النهار إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون وفي الأرض قطع متجاورات وجنات من أعناب وزرع ونخيل سنوان وغير سنوان يسقى بماء واحد ونفضل بعضها على بعض في أكل أن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يعقلون.
Excellent. Very good. And Hamad, please go ahead.
What ayat are we on?
We are on Ayah 5. It's the last Ayah on page 249.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ويستعجلونك بالسيئات قبل
No, sorry. It's the Ayah before that.
What?
It's the Ayah before that. So the number of the ayah actually comes at the end of the ayah. So
وإن تعجب فعجب قولهم أإذا كنا ترابا أإنا لفي خلق جديد أولئك الذين كفروا بربهم وأولئك الأغلق في أعناقهم وأولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون ويستعجلونك بالسيئة قبل الحسنة وقد خلت من قبلهم المثل المثلات وإن ربك لذو مغفرة للناس على ظلمهم وإن ربك لشديد العقاب ويقول
Ahsan, let's stop there. Good job, Hamad. And Brother Muhammad Ibrahim.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ويقول الذين كفروا لولا أنزل عليه آيات من ربه إنما أنت منذر لكل قوم حاد الله يعلم حتى
Say that again. Allahu.
الله يعلم ما تحمل كل إنسان وما
Kullu.
كل أنثى وما تغيض الأرحام وما تزداد وكل شيء عنده بمقدار عالم الغيب والشهادة الكثير المتعال
Ahsan. Very good, Muhammad. Very good.
Can I just make a quick comment on the commentary of verse 7? وَيَقُولُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَوْلَا أُنزِلَ عَلَيْهِ آيَةٌ مِّن رَبِّهِ. So the unbelievers used to come and say to the prophet, give us a sign. If you're a prophet, make a tree talk, make some miraculous gold appear. Different signs that they would demand. And the Quran says, إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُنذِرٌ. Your job is not to make miracles or magic. You are to warn people, give them the warning of God's punishment. وَلِكُلِّ قَوْمٍ هَادٍ. Everybody is given a guide by Allah. So believers, they didn't demand that God show them a sign or a miracle. It was the enemies of the Prophet who used to challenge him in that way. They weren't looking for guidance, they were kind of looking for entertainment. Go ahead.
Thank you. And Kathy, please go ahead. Kathy, are you there? Kathy, you're on.
Wait, is it me?
Yes.
Oh, this is mine. Wait, what verse are we on?
We're on I believe we just on verse 9.
Wait, which one?
Sorry, we're on verse 10.
So
Page 250, verse 10. Sawa'un.
Wait, is it the Surah 13?
Yes.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. سواء منكم من أسر القول ومن جهر به ومن هو مستخف بالليل وسارب بالنهار له معقبات من بين يديه ومن خلفه يحفظونه من أمر الله إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم وإذا أراد الله بقوم من سوءا فلا مرد له وما لهم من دونه من وال.
Ahsan. Very good, Taqi. Thank you.
very important message here. إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. Allah doesn't change your circumstances unless you change your own circumstances. So don't wait for Allah, but you make the intention and action, and then Allah will complete it. And it can go in both directions. So if we have a blessing, Allah is going to keep on blessing us unless we show ingratitude. And if we are in a difficult or a bad place, Allah will change it once we show the desire to change.
Thank you, Sayyid. And Zain Mohsen, I believe.
We might have room for maybe 2 or 3 more people at the most, I think.
Mm-hmm. Zain, are you available? Okay. In that case, Musa, please go ahead.
Sorry, which verse are we on?
We are on 12.
I think Zain also texted that he's speaking, but we can't hear him. Zain, you might be on
Wait,
mute.
do you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you now. Go ahead, Zain. Please start from ayah 12.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. هو الذي يريكم البرق خوفا وطمعا وينشئ السحاب الثقال ويسبح الرعد بحمده والملائكة من خيفته ويرسل الصواعق فيصيب بها من يشاء وهم يجادلون في الله وهو شديد المحال.
That sounds very good, Zain. And Brother Musa, please go ahead. Say there's a sajda on verse 15. Is that a wajib?
No, it's not.
Okay. Thank you. So Musa, we're starting page 251 now.
Okay, should I start?
Mhm.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Lahu da'watu al-haq والذين يدعون من دونه لا يستجيبون لهم بشيء إلا كباسط كفيه إلى الماء ليبلغ فاه وما هو ببالغه وما دعاء الكافرين إلا في ضلال. ولله يسجد من في السماوات
One more
والأرض
time. وَلِلَّهِ يَسْجُدُ.
ولله يسجد من في السماوات والأرض طوعا وكرها وظلالهم بالغدو والآصال.
Excellent. Thank you,
Should I
Yusuf.
continue?
I think we can let one more person recite.
Okay.
Thank you. And Zain Hassan, please go ahead.
قل من رب السماوات والأرض قل الله قل أفاتخذتم من دونه أولياء لا يملكون لأنفسهم نفعا ولا ضرا قل هل يستوي الأعمى والبصير أم تستوي الظلمات
One more time.
والنور
Um,
أم هل تستوي الظلمات والنور أم جعلوا لله شركاء خلقوا كخلقه فتشابه الخلق عليهم قل الله خالق كل شيء وهو الواحد القهار.
excellent. Thank you, Zain. I think that's all the time we have for today. Let me take a quick note of everybody who wasn't able to recite, and we can get to you tomorrow, inshallah.
Jazakumullah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Assalamu alaikum.